Joining me in the program today is sports journalist Jidechi Chideze. Jidechi, a very good afternoon to you. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. It's been a minute you and I have done this. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's nice to join you too.
Always a pleasure to have you. Let's get straight into it. Lagos State is preparing to host the first national intermediate game with 11 venues earmarked for events when the competition begins on October 1st, 2026. Now, the games are designed for athletes between the junior and senior levels, providing an important pathway from youth sports into elite competition. Among the venues listed are Teslim Balogun Stadium, Surulere, Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Unikon, Roe Park Yaba, sports centers in Ifako, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Ekpe, Agege, and Badagry. Lagos Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, said preparations are on course, while National Sports Commission Director General Bukola Olokpade praised the state's commitment to delivering the inaugural event. Olokpade highlighted Lagos' recent experience hosting major international competitions, including the E1 Powerboat World Championship and the Davis Cup, as evidence of its capacity to stage the games successfully. Jidechi, obviously, the target for the intermediate games does make sense in terms of creating a pathway from the youth level into elite sport. But what are your expectations regarding this intermediate games? Do you think it will live up to expectations?
First of all, I think it's kudos to the Lagos state government. If anything, Lagos have always proven that it's one of those states that takes sports to a level that many other states do not. They take it a bit more seriously than a couple of other states in the country would. And to see that we are going from not just university games to the intermediate level, this I believe would be the teenagers and those in their middle age groups. It's wonderful to see because you are taking sports to the younger generation and you're trying to take it and do this in such a way that the entire age grade is not neglected, right? These people can be catered to and can be discovered very early on. And I think it's the right step in the right direction because a lot of times we've always clamored for how school sports has been dead in the country and how a lot more things need to be done. And this being done on the national level, coming to Lagos, you can see the number of venues that are going to be used for these events. It's telling you how Lagos is taking this a bit more seriously. And I would like to see how we go forward from here, because sometimes many of these things they would come up, and at the end of the day, in some years down the line, it's something that is forgotten. I would like to see how we move on from this inaugural event, and it's not a case of we just had one or two in Lagos. We want to be able to also see other states come up eventually and say we don't want Lagos to take all the shine. We also want to be in the mix of things, and we want to be able to get the entire nation, or want to be able to get everyone to our state and also get everyone participated in this. For now, I would say inaugural event is wonderful to talk about, but for me, it's more about how we can continue from here on after this inaugural event. It has been long concluded.
All right, then. Well, I mean, we'll keep tabs on them and see eventually if they're able to achieve what they've set out to achieve. And hopefully they will do even more than our expectations, because we do need tournaments like this that would help us transition our athletes from, the youth level to the elite level. We rarely have that in different aspects of sports. So hopefully they're able to achieve this. Let's move on to another conversation now, because the defending champions, Dolphins Basketball Club, are facing a difficult start to the NBBF Women's Basketball League, suffering another heavy defeat in the Atlantic Conference in Lagos. Dolphins were completely outplayed by newcomers Victoria Queens, going down 77-40 at the Indoor Sports Hall of the National Stadium, Surulere. The defeat is Dolphins' third loss in 4 games in the first phase, following earlier defeats to First Deepwater and Bayelsa Blue Whales. Their only victory so far came against IGP Queens. Now, Victoria Queens, meanwhile, have made an impressive start to their debut campaign, winning 3 of their 4 games, with their only loss coming against MFM. Elsewhere, in the Atlantic Conference, First Bank maintained their perfect record with a 50-39 victory over Bayelsa Blue Whales, while Royal Aces defeated IGP Queens 57-53. In the Savannah Conference, Nigeria Customs and Air Warriors remain unbeaten, with Customs recording a convincing 72-40 win over Nasarawa Amazons. The Savannah Conference has also been reduced to 6 teams after Kada Angels and Ham Warriors withdrew from their first phase. Joining myself and Jidechi in this conversation is basketball sports journalist, Ariola Amodu. Ariola, a very good afternoon to you. It's a pleasure having you on In the Game. First of all, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you. Good afternoon to you too. How are you doing?
Not too bad myself. Now, Dolphins are the defending champions, but they have now lost 3 of their opening 4 games, including a heavy 77-40 defeat to debutants Victoria Queens. What do you think is going wrong for the champions?
Okay, so by the way, they are 2 of 2. They've won 2. They've lost 2 out of 4 games. And I feel like, because I was at the games 2 days ago, and I saw relatively new players, and I went over to ask their coach, what's the problem, what is going on? And I'm not going to call it an excuse now, but one thing he pinpointed was the fact that this is a new side. It's not so easy putting a group of girls together and telling them the league is next week, let's go and play it, and then you're expecting an excellent result from them. So one thing I'm going to pinpoint is that they are new, and whatever is happening right now is expected. So it's if they had the girls they had with them last year when they won the Zenith Women's Basketball League, and they are performing like this, I think it's going to be a problem. But the fact that they are new is what is happening right now is very much expected. So I'm going to put it on the fact that these are new girls.
Okay, they're a new team, a new transition, and it will take time for them to get better and to get going. Ariola, just hold your thoughts 1 second. We'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with this conversation. Do stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned with us. This is In the Game on News Central Television. I've still got Jidechi Chidieze and Ariola Amodu with me, and we're having a conversation regarding the ongoing Women's Basketball League. Now, Victoria Queens have made a huge statement in their debut season, winning 3 of their 4 games. How impressive has their start been, and what is allowing them to compete so effectively against established teams, Ariola?
To be honest, right, they caught me by surprise. I did not expect them to come into the league this season as debutant, particularly in the Atlantic Conference, because I genuinely think that is probably the more difficult of the 2 conferences that we have. They've won 3 out of their 4 games. I cannot tell you that this is why I think they are winning, because to be honest, we've not seen the statistics of all the players that are playing for them. We don't even know which of these players is putting them ahead, we don't know which of these players among all the players that they have is getting them the points they've gotten. So far, they've amassed a total of, or an average of 55, 56 points per game, and they've conceded just 40, 45 points per game. That is impressive. There was a game where they were leading by 20 points. There was one where they were leading by 10 points. And even the one they lost was against two-time champions MFM. So I can't really tell you why I think this team is performing so well. But if there is something I think they have, or if there's something I think I've seen so far with this team, is the fact that they look like a well-coached team. Okay. This is not me saying that I'm going to put all the credit on the coach, because the players also have been quite impressive. Okay. So yeah, this team is a team that looks like they can go into the final weight and give the rest of the OGs a trouble.
All right then. Jidechi, is it too early for me to start talking about title contenders and disappointments, or do you think we should give you more time before we start calling out clear title favorites? Because some of the results have been topsy-turvy, defending champions losing, we've had some debutants winning games, should I say, surprisingly. So is it too late to start making calls for champions?
I mean, if anything, sports have taught us, on the general terms, it's that many times it's never a good idea to start calling the end early on. You did mention defending champions losing games, and we've seen where defending champions, no matter the sports, might go on to lose a game and then go on to win the entire thing, right? These are things that tend to happen every now and then. No one can particularly say what could happen at the end of the season, despite what might have happened already at this point in the season. So I would say it's particularly still too early. The girls are having a good start to the season all around. A lot of the teams are having a good start to the season. So I would say maybe we just wait a little bit longer, and then when in a few months' time, things might get clearer, and then we can be able to say, okay, this is how the season is probably going to end. Okay, then.
Ariola, finally on this particular conversation, 2 teams, Kada Angels and Ham Warriors, they have withdrawn from the Savannah Conference, reducing the group to 6 teams. What does this tell us about the financial and organizational challenges facing women's basketball clubs in Nigeria?
So when it was announced, or it was seen, because I don't think it was officially announced that they were not going to be participating in the Savannah Conference, when we saw that they were not coming, I think what is going around right now is speculations. We can't really say that the reason why they did not come is because of finances. I mean, that's what it's looking like. I just think that the NBBF needs to do better in terms of the organization of this league. It was probably a week before the league started that we knew the league was going to start so day. I don't think I'm going to use the WNBA as an example now. If the WNBA is going to start in like a month, it's going to start in like 3 weeks, we already know the teams that are going to play each other. We know what is going to happen. In fact, we know when it is going to start and when it is going to end. For our league right now, I cannot tell you that this is when the second phase is going to start. I cannot tell you that this is when the final eight is going to start. I cannot tell you that this is where they're going to play the second phase, because we know that they've not played the Atlantic Conference in Lagos in a while. It was either going to go to Edo State or Port Harcourt, but we're seeing it's played in Lagos, and that says a lot. The National Stadium is where they usually play the final eight. For now, the first phase of the Atlantic Conference is being played in the National Stadium. That says a lot about what the NBBF is doing with the Zenith Women's Basketball League. And I believe that because we have a lead sponsor, the organization and the structure of this league should be better. But it feels like, it's always going to be what it is right now. So for Armed Warriors and for Kada Angels, I genuinely do not know what is wrong. I don't know why they could not participate. I mean, 2 years ago, Air Warriors could not participate in the final because there was an accident. But this one, nothing has been said about why they did not come. And that shows that our league is still where it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, if not worse off than it was, to be honest.
Wow.
But yeah, NBBF needs to do better. They need to treat this league like a league. They should stop treating it like something that seems like just go and play. Let's know that we feel the sport. Let's know that we let us know that the league has happened. Let us have a representative for the African Women's Basketball League. They need to stop treating it like an afterthought. In fact, they need to stop treating our basketball league generally like an afterthought.
All right, then. Hopefully members of the NBBF are listening to you right now, and hopefully they will do what needs to be done. Very quickly, Nigeria's Tigers forward Elizabeth Balogun has joined WNBA side New York Liberty after signing a developmental player contract with the franchise. The Liberty confirmed the move yesterday, welcoming the Nigerian international to New York. Balogun, who previously featured for the Tigers during preparations for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, now gets another opportunity to develop her career at the highest level of women's basketball. Her move comes as the Tigers continue preparations for the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup in Berlin, where Nigeria will face Korea Republic, Hungary, and France in Group B. Balogun will now hope to make an impression with the Liberty while gaining valuable experience in the WNBA. Jidechi, how important is it that the best of the best for the D Tigers and the Nigerian women's basketball team, how important is it that they ply their trade in the highest level of basketball?
I mean, there's nothing more exciting than hearing this type of news, right? It's the WNBA, come on. It's the biggest women's basketball league in the world. And one would expect that our players are playing at the very high levels of basketball. And it's wonderful. Balogun has been on the rise for a while now, and it's also wonderful to see that she finally gets to compete at the highest levels in the game. I say for the general team, it's a welcome development, because imagine having players that play in WNBA. It means we have players that can compete at the very high levels, and we've seen what our girls are capable of both on the African continent and on the world stage. But now imagine when you add the talent and the experience of playing at the highest levels to the team. From more than one player, it's a good thing. And I would say I would like to see how this plays out for the team eventually when it gets to the World Cup.
All right, then. So from the women's team to the men's team, talking about Nigeria's senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, they have unveiled their final 12-man roster for the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Tunisia. Head coach Abdulrahman Mohamed has combined experienced international players with emerging talents from the domestic league as Nigeria targets qualification for the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup in Qatar. The squad includes veterans such as Stanley Okoye, Ike Nwamu, and Jordan Ogundiran, alongside foreign-based players including Mike Nuga, Simon Ugochukwu, and Talib Zana. Lagos legends duo Chinkpa Gaba and Chris Obekpa, alongside Boko City Chiefs guard Paul Dibal, represent the domestic contingent. The Tigers will face Cameroon, Tunisia, Guinea, South Sudan, and Cape Verde in Group E during the qualifiers from the 27th to the 30th of August. Ariola, are you pleased with this roster? Do you think this roster has what it takes for Nigeria to be successful in their qualifiers, which are coming up?
I mean, whatever the coach would have picked, whoever it is would have added on the squad list, I would have been okay. So yes, I think I'm pleased. Not 100%, but there are names there that we've not seen in a long time. For example, Chima Muneke has not played for Nigeria in a while, so I'm so excited to see him back. And somebody like Josh, I feel like at this point right now, Josh is like the elder brother on that squad list, and I'm excited to see Chimezie made to also. There are lots of players here that played in the first phase, if I can call it that. The first phase of
the first round of qualifiers, if you may.
Yeah, the first round of some of them also here. So yes, I'm okay with what Coach Abdurrahman has picked. Yeah, that's all I have to say. We'll see what will happen. I mean, well, the point is that we should qualify for the World Cup. Whoever it is, they pick the final roster. The point is we should qualify for the World Cup. That's what that matters.
Okay, Ariella, before I let you go, do you think there's some sort of pressure on the D Tigers to possibly, first of all, even qualify and maybe even win? Because the D Tigers have been doing fantastically well for us, alongside the Super Falcons, they've been like the shining light for Nigerian sports over the last 2-3 years. So do you think there will be pressure on them to possibly, replicate what the women have done?
Okay, so I feel like at this point, not a lot of people expect so much from them. I'm not gonna lie, to be honest. If they don't end up qualifying, I do hope they qualify, but if they don't end up qualifying, I'm not going to be surprised. But yes, there's a lot of pressure on them because, to be honest, they've not done so much for us. They've not done so much for us when we compare what the Tigers have done. In fact, when we compare what the younger ones have done in terms of this year alone, the fact that the under-18 junior D Tigers qualified for the World Cup and they got the silver medal in the Afrobasket under-18 Women's Championship, they should know that at this point, they have to get that qualification. Like I said, if they don't qualify, I'm not going to be shocked. It's going to be sad, but they know that they need to qualify, at least to just put something on their name and to tell people that, yes, it's not only the women that we have the men too. We can do something for the national teams. Yes, there's pressure on them, not from my side, but a lot of people are expecting them to qualify, but I mean, I'm not expecting so much. All right, then.
It's been an interesting conversation with Ariella Amodu speaking about basketball today. First of all, thank you so much for your time on the show. We hope to have you on subsequent editions, maybe where we could be speaking about the success of the D Tigers. Thank you so much for your time on the show today. Jidechi, what are your thoughts regarding this, should I say, preseason Super 6 tournament? Is this a good, should I say, a preview to what we could possibly have this forthcoming season?
I mean, first thing first, I think I would say I'm excited with the idea of Super 6, right? I'm trying to tone down my expectation with Nigerian clubs these days because a lot of times everything that is done to get teams in preparation to play on the continent never really go as planned because most times we hardly have up to 2 or 3 teams in the group stages of the tournament. But I would say at the end of the day, it's still a welcome development because we've not really done something of this magnitude in a while where we prepared these teams in such a way that when the continental playoffs starts, the teams are ready. So I would like to see that these teams, speaking particularly about Rivers United and Rangers and El Kanemi Warriors, when the continental competition starts, we get to see them in their full sharpness and they are ready to take on the continent and also fly Nigeria's flag really high. I'm not particularly concerned about the results against the preseason tournament, so one would not really put so much attention on how teams did perform, but the main thing is that these teams are ready and sharp. The season is also starting very soon, and the likes of Rivers and Rangers would love to go on that 2-horse race again, I can assure you. And so I'm particularly excited to see how they would translate the form from the Super 6 tournament also into the new season. If anything, I would say Mighty Jets is maybe one team I'm looking at seeing how they perform at this preseason. It's a very big return for Mighty Jets, who have not played in top flight for a very long time. And also, it's going to be a challenging season for the Plateau State government, right? Having 2 teams in the magnitude of Plateau United and Mighty Jets participating in the league We've seen Abia do it with Eimba and Abia
True.
Warriors.
Yeah.
We've seen some other states also pull that off. Lagos would be running that this time around, three clubs. But unlike Plateau, it's going to be, unlike Plateau, Lagos State is privately owned club, so different administrations. In Plateau is going to be two teams that are being run by almost similar administrators. So it's one would want to see how they can pull this off. There's also the conversation of would it be same stadiums? Would they be playing at different stadiums? These are many things to look out for.
Okay.
But my Jets, if anything, they are the only ones I probably will be having my eye on in this tournament. For the rest of them, it's about how they translate the form from the preseason into the main season when both the NPFL and the CAF Continental competitions get underway.
Well, speaking about Abia Warriors and stadiums, like I said earlier in the show, they will play their 2026-27 NPFL home matches at the Enyimba Stadium in Aba, while their regular home ground in Umuahia undergoes renovation. Executive Chairman John Obu confirmed the arrangement, saying the team will also relocate to Aba for a closed-door camping period ahead of the new campaign. The club is targeting a stronger finish after finishing 7th with 55 points in the 2025-26 NPFL campaign, despite initially challenging for a top 3 position. Obu says the squad is being rebuilt around a mixture of young talent and experience, with several new players joining those retained from last season. Jidechi, don't you think it is weird that they decided to begin the renovation a couple of weeks, or should I say days, before the start of the new season?
Tired is the word. It's the Nigeria phenomenon, right? There's that tendency to plan poorly. The season finished, I think it's almost 3 months. This was before the World Cup. The season got wrapped up, or just very close to the World Cup. The season got wrapped up, and here we are talking about stadium renovation that probably should have started a long time ago. Again, the good thing is it's being done. Let's hope it's being done to a standard that would be to the taste of the league organizers. But I don't know. I'm tired of seeing this type of stories where we get stadiums, we get teams constantly moving home grounds, because Abia Warriors, if anything, in the last 5 years, we've had this conversation of Abia Warriors not playing at home in Umuahia, and it's become something that is so much of a norm that it doesn't feel new anymore when you hear a team like Abia Warriors are being moved away from their home ground for certain reasons or for obvious reasons. But let's hope that they can get things wrapped up as soon as possible, because there's that beauty about every team playing on their home ground. It doesn't
no doubt about that.
It doesn't matter if it's still in the same city, right, of Abia, it's still in the same region of Abia. It doesn't matter. There's that peculiarity that comes with playing on your home soil, and that rivalry between the Aba fans and the Umuahia fans. We hope we can get that back during this season.
All right, then hopefully we get that back during this season. Well, that's it on the NPFL updates. We're going on another short break. When we come back, we continue with football conversations. The Black Stars have been drawn in Group C alongside Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia and Somalia, with qualifiers set to resume next month. Joining myself and Jidechi in this conversation is sports journalist Eugene Scotty, who is joining us all the way from Accra, Ghana. Eugene, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Patrice Baumel has emerged as one of the candidates for the Black Stars job. Given his experience with several African national teams, how seriously should Ghana consider him?
It's an interesting name. I think, first of all, I must let you know that this search for a new coach hasn't been the conventional way we look for coaches in Ghana, particularly because after the World Cup, traditionally, presidents don't involve themselves in the decision-making of FIFA associations. But for the first time, our president publicly stated that he was of the view that the FA needed to extend the services of Carlos Queiroz. The GFA also revealed that they were interested in extending his contract. The sports ministry as well decided to also extend his contract. Then after almost a month, we are now hearing that negotiations have stalled. One, because Carlos wants to almost double his money. And then Carlos was taking about $80,000 at the last World Cup. And he's almost wants to double the money. And I must let you know that Otuado, the previous coach before Carlos, was taking $50,000. And even him, he was being owed. And so that was always going to be a problem. And that's one of the reasons why Carlos's negotiations are stalled. And that problem is that Roger De Sá, who was one of Carlos's assistant coaches, has now taken a job in South Africa. So he's not likely to be with him. So Carlos will need to bring in a few more backroom staff. And traditionally, in West Africa, that a lot of the FAs don't like to take foreigners assistant coach. They like to bring one of their own to have an imprint in the team, also have some dominance, and that has been a problem. With Patrice Baumel, I'm not too sure of how those negotiations will go, but I remember I spoke to an Ivorian player who played under Baumel before, and one of the things I learned about him is that Baumel usually is someone who places a lot of value in meritocracy. He might not need to know who you are, but once he feels that you are value to him, he will select you. But I think that the way things are going, there's a high likelihood that GFA will return to the negotiation table with Carlos Queiroz and possibly get Carlos Queiroz as the head coach to continue. But I'm sure that by the end of this week or earliest by next week, we'll get a head coach, because the GFA is having an extraordinary congress where all the decision makers of the GFA today, as I'm speaking now, having a congress, having a discussion on that. But the body that is responsible for making the decision are the executive committee of the GFA.
Okay. So, Eugene, just before I let you go, because we're pressed for time, with the AFCON qualifiers approaching next month, how important is it for the Ghana Football Association to make the appointment quickly? And what could be, should I say, the decision at the end of the day, in your own opinion?
I'm thinking that with time approaching, all this plays into the hands of Carlos Queiroz because he has had an imprint of the team. He has had a fair bit of time with the team, at least about 5 months now. He knows the key actors in the team, and so it's looking very much likely that he will be the one for the job with the way time is going, because any other one who comes is now going to start afresh and ask yourself who's going to call the players, because you have very little time to assess the players himself. So at this moment, it's playing to the hands of Carlos Queiroz.
All right, then, Eugene, thank you so much for your time on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you. Hopefully, by the time we have you back, we have a new coach for the Black Stars, and hopefully we get that coach. I'm saying we. Hopefully you get that coach before the start of the AFCON qualifiers. Many thanks for your time on the show this afternoon. Still sticking with you, Jidechi, we've got some positive updates regarding one of our Super Eagles players, talking about Christantus Uche. He has undergone successful surgery after suffering a serious right knee injury that will rule him out for the remainder of the 2026-27 campaign. I mean, he had a difficult time with Crystal Palace. Now he was looking forward to playing regular football with Getafe, and then he suffered that horrific injury. How important is his comeback now?
I mean, it's super important for him. It's super important for Nigerians. Considering the Super Eagles, we are also trying to get to that stage where we prepare for the AFCON next year and also get into another round of qualifiers. So I think for Christantus Uche, my heart goes out to him. It's been a terrible time for him. Crystal Palace happened. Getafe is supposed to happen. I think it's just to keep our fingers crossed at this point and hope that he can have a swell time in Spain. I think the club, Getafe, loves him. They didn't like the fact they had to part with him to Crystal Palace the last time. So it means there's every chance that we would get to see him play in La Liga this season. And I can hope that this injury that happened does not extend into something else. You know, most of the times when you get this type of injuries, it becomes a recurring issue. So let's just hope it's one of those one-off moments where the player gets a one-off injury and it never happens again, and Christantus Uche can also get back to playing time with both Getafe and probably eventually get another call-up for Nigeria.
All right, then. All the best to Christantus Uche. Jidechi, thank you so much for your time on the show today. It's always a pleasure doing this with you. Do enjoy the rest of your day.